Well, the prayer has been said and the chair taken. However, the House has not quorated yet for the business to be able to commence or the sitting of the Senate to commence. And that is why we have that particular quorum bell currently underway, just to alert the members of the Senate who may be within the precincts of Parliament, but yet to make their way into the chambers to at least hasten their steps and be able to join their colleagues inside the chambers to be able to allow the House raise that much needed quorum for the House to be able to commence its business. And the business lined up for consideration this morning, as is the tradition, appearance of Cabinet Secretary before the plenary sitting to respond to various concerns raised by members. These questions are usually forwarded to the Cabinet Secretary prior to their appearance on the floor of the House. And this morning, much as the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration had already been invited for the question, there are concerns that the members of the Senate in Tuesday afternoon sitting raised with regards to the mysterious death of the 31-year-old blogger, that is Albert Ojwang, who died in police custody. These are concerns that the members of the Senate raised and calling for the appearance or having the top security organs appear before the Senate. Now, the business of the day will commence as usual. However, in a motion that will be moved by the leader of the majority party, the House will be suspended, or rather will suspend its proceedings for not more than 2 hours. This is in order to be able to allow senators to efficiently interrogate the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, who, as is appearing this morning before the plenary sitting, will be accompanied by the Inspector General of Police and the chairperson of the Independent Policing Oversight Authority and the National Police Service Commission regarding the concerns that the members had raised in Tuesday afternoon sitting. That saw the Speaker make that directive for the appearance of the top security organs. Now, during the motion, when the members or the security apparatus will be appearing before the Senate, the mess will be lowered, as is normally during a committee of the whole. However, this is with regards to the consideration over the matters that the members will, or rather raised yesterday. And the Cabinet Secretary will not be sitting at the front, or rather the right side of the Speaker. However, we shall be seeing them taking their positions at the back, that is right immediately next to the entrance of the Senate chambers, and they will be able to respond to the questions or concerns that the members of the Senate, as they convene this morning, will be having regarding the safety and well-being of arrested persons in police custody, and in particular the circumstances surrounding the death of Albert Ojwang. So the business this morning will commence as normal, but later the mess which is normally raised up there at the dispatch will be lowered, as is in a committee of the whole, for this particular motion, or for the invited guests to be able to engage the House on the questions or the concerns that the senators have this morning. So if you're just joining us, is that the House is about to commence its business. The quorum of the House has not been raised yet. There is a quorum hitch. We have just seen the leader of the majority party counting the members already inside the chambers to see whether the quorum has been raised yet. However, if that quorum bell is not on, then clearly it means that the quorum has not been raised. But as you can see at the entrance of the chambers, members making their way inside. Once that quorum is raised, then we shall be able to let you into the proceedings that will be taking place this morning. As is the tradition, the Cabinet Secretary of the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, who had earlier on been invited or was expected to appear before the Senate to respond to concerns by the members, coincidentally happened that this morning will be required to be accompanied by top security apparatus in the country, and that is the Inspector General of Police, the chairperson of the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, and the National Police Service Commission. All this stemming from the concerns that have been raised by the senators on matters of well-being and safety of Kenyans in police custody. And of course, you will recall that all this has been with regards to the circumstances that surround the death of Albert Ojwang on Tuesday, as the members of the Senate responded to statements or a statement by one of their own regarding the situation on the death of Albert Ojwang, vehemently condemned that particular situation or occurrence, indicating that the late Ojwang, much as he had been arrested, would have been taken to the local police station in Homa Bay County, and the proceedings or the matters with regards to any issues concerning his arrest and any accusations or charges that were being leveled against him be handled from the local courts, and were raising concerns on why he had to be transferred all the way to Nairobi, and thereon, or rather thereafter, his untimely demise. So those are concerns that the members of the Senate this morning will be seeking answers to, and not just from the Cabinet Secretary, but also from the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, who will be accompanying the Cabinet Secretary to help him give responses or explanations to that particular issue, as the members of the Senate will be interrogating the Cabinet Secretary to be able to get answers to the questions or the concerns that members of the public also have. And the session or the sitting, as you can see, has commenced. Normally, we are just waiting for the quorum to be attained. Remember, during the interrogation time inside the Senate chambers, the mass will be lowered, but the Speaker will stick to his position where he normally sits and be able to guide the proceedings. And of course, we expect that the Speaker as well, before the whole session begins, will give a communication to the members of the Senate to be able to make the public understand on the program, or how they allow me to hand over to the business.
Take your seats. Clerk, you may proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Next order. Next order.
Order number 8, the Business Laws Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 51 of 2024. Second reading, mover to reply.
Majority Leader, being the mover of this business, you may now proceed to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank all the colleagues who took time to speak to this very, very fundamental bill with regards to making Kenya a globally competitive business hub. Mr. Speaker, like I mentioned when I was moving this bill, this is perhaps the most bold of reforms that we have seen in creating Kenya into a competitive business environment and making sure that we can compete globally. And I observed, Mr. Speaker, that there is nothing out of the ordinary that we're actually doing as a country. We are doing what others have been able to do and ended up being better than us, even in spaces that we excelled in. There are countries, Mr. Speaker, that came here in the 60s, 70s, in the 80s, copied the things that we were doing, and have now since done them better than us, and have their sectors actually performing better than ours, thanks to perfect implementation of laws as they are. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, and I listened to many colleagues when they spoke to this bill, we don't seem to appreciate that the world is evolving and doing so at an extremely fast pace, Mr. Speaker, and therefore presenting us with the need to ensure that as a society, as a country, we do things like they are done in other parts of the world. Mr. Speaker, there seems to be a lack of realization on our part as a country that when those with the means and the ways to move the economies of the world sit down in their offices in the poshy capitals of the world, they don't look at us from an empathy perspective. They look at us in form of numbers. How competitive are we? How easy is it to do business in this country, Mr. Speaker? And there are so many bureaucratical bottlenecks, Mr. Speaker, that reduce us and have made us to be a laughing stock. Many people, Mr. Speaker, if you speak to people in the business world, and I have seen, if you recall, Mr. Speaker, last year, I think you led us in Mombasa. We had engagement with KEPSA, Mr. Speaker. And you listen to the kind of things they were telling us, why they feel that as a country, as parliament, that is the legislature, we need to up our game and ensure, Mr. Speaker, that we amend the various laws, Mr. Speaker, to make them compliant with the demands of the 21st century. And therefore, I listened to the colleagues that shared their thoughts, with quite a number of them proposing various further amendments, which I want to appreciate. I hope that all the senators that actually spoke and proposed amendment to this bill will ensure that they file them, Mr. Speaker, so that as we move towards voting in the committee of the whole, which probably I suspect should be when we return from the recess, Mr. Speaker, we are actually able to do it, Mr. Speaker. So I appreciate and I want to urge senators, maybe those who may not have had time to contribute to this bill, it's still important that you read it. This is an extremely important bill. It's one of the things that you'll be extremely proud of yourself later on when you look at reports from sectoral performance, from tourism, horticulture, agriculture subsector, because all those parts of, many of those laws are being actually amended to make sure that our sectors compete with the very best, in the world, including BPO space, which we do so well. We have the ability, Senator Catherine, to be extremely competitive. People keep on asking us, with no offense to Indians and Philippines, that we speak better English than them. And they don't understand why our BPO space employs over and above probably 100,000 Kenyans, while in those two countries, they do, at the very minimum, 3 to 4 million people, something that we can compete with. And they have led us into listening and appreciating the things that we need to change. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I hope that colleagues will take time, those who didn't comment on this bill, to still read it and perhaps share amendments, because we still have time, Mr. Speaker, before we do third reading, most likely which will be after we return. With those main remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to reply. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Standing Order number 66.3, I beg to request that the putting of a question be deferred until a later time. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Honorable Senators, allow me to make a communication. Honorable Senators, I have a communication to make regarding the meeting between the Senate and the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Interior and National Administration, the Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, EGH, on the circumstances surrounding the death of Mr. Albert Omondi Ojwang at the Central Police Station in Nairobi City County. Now, Honorable Senators, as you may recall, during the sitting of the Senate held yesterday, Tuesday, the 10th of June, 2025, the Senator from Migori County, Senator Eddie Okech, sought a statement pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations regarding the unfortunate death of Mr. Albert Omondi Ojwang while in custody at the Central Police Station in Nairobi. Pursuant to Standing Order 53.3, I allowed senators to make comments on the statement sought by Senator Eddie Okech. All senators who spoke on this matter expressed grave concern over the inhumane treatment and resultant death of Mr. Albert Ojwang while at the police station. The senators demanded for urgent action from the relevant government agencies, particularly the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Interior and National Administration, the Inspector General of Police, and the Independent Policing Oversight Authority. Subsequently, following the comments by honorable senators on this statement, and in view of the urgent nature of the matter, which is of a nationwide concern, considering the expression of grief by the public, I directed that the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Interior and National Administration appears before the Senate, accompanied by the Inspector General of Police, the Chairperson of the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, and the Chairperson of the National Police Service Commission, to respond to the concerns from senators for and on behalf of the people they represent. The matter at hand relates to the safety and well-being of persons in custody at police stations across the country, and in particular the circumstances surrounding the unwarranted treatment and grotesque death of Mr. Ojwang. Honorable Senators, as you may be aware, Wednesday mornings are reserved for questions to Cabinet Secretaries. However, special arrangements must be made for the Senate to engage with the Cabinet Secretary and his team on this particular issue. Consequently, I will very shortly allow the Senate Majority Leader to move a motion for the temporary suspension of this sitting pursuant to Standing Order 38. The period of suspension of the sitting shall not exceed 2 hours. This time will be used for the Senate to engage with the Cabinet Secretary and his team, after which normal business as scheduled in the order paper will resume, beginning with questions scheduled for reply by the Cabinet Secretary. You will acknowledge that this is indeed an unprecedented occurrence in the Senate. It is, however, necessary that this route is taken to allow for the necessary flexibility to get a report on the concrete action being undertaken by the Cabinet Secretary and his team for the senators to effectively interrogate the matter. During the session with the Cabinet Secretary and his team, the proceedings will be open. Media access will be granted, and so is the live broadcasting of the session. Accordingly, the Hansard editor is directed to prepare a special report thereon. So, Majority Leader, You may now proceed to move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move the following motion, which is a temporary suspension of a sitting pursuant to Standing Order number 38. That pursuant to Standing Order number 38.1, the Senate do suspend its proceedings for not more than 2 hours in order to allow senators to efficiently interrogate the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, the Inspector General of Police, the chairpersons of the Independent Police Oversight Authority, IPOA, and of the National Police Service Commission regarding the safety and the well-being of arrested persons in police custody, and in particular the circumstances surrounding the death of Albert Ojwang. Yesterday afternoon, Mr. Speaker, we made a resolution as a House, and I must really appreciate you, Mr. Speaker, for accommodating the views of senators when we say that we must not only appear to be doing something, but we actually must do something. Honorable colleagues, the country looks up to us at such a time as this, where a 31-year-old young father was picked up by people known to be law enforcement officers and subsequently booked into a police station, and then the report gets hazy after that. The next thing we know, the young man is lying at a morgue. Mr. Speaker, if there was ever a time that we needed to rise to the occasion as a House and ensure that we do justice for the people that we represent in this House, this is such the time, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, we have made this request that you allow us, Mr. Speaker, to break from the normal session where we will ask the Cabinet Minister seated there to just respond to us. But because there are other people that we want to hear from, Mr. Speaker, particularly the chairperson of IPOA, Mr. Speaker, because there have been one too many deaths of civilians in the hands of police officers, Mr. Speaker. And those circumstances have been documented here. Members have raised statements with many such instances, Mr. Speaker. And we want to hear from them the report, how many people have so far been charged, why does investigation take so long, Mr. Speaker, what are the challenges, is there anything that as a House, Mr. Speaker, because we are a law-making entity, is it for want of sufficient laws, Mr. Speaker, that those who misuse their firearms, Mr. Speaker, are not charged? We'd wish to understand that from the gentleman who is appearing before us on behalf of IPOA. We have the Police Service Commission chairperson. This is an entity created by statute, Mr. Speaker, to handle issues of discipline, promotion, and whatnot, Mr. Speaker, in the police service. And there are many questions that arise, in particular on the conduct of police officers, Mr. Speaker. And it will be important that the Senate, on behalf of the country, is made aware of how many such incidents have been reported and what are they as a police service doing about it. There are many things that this House has raised in the past, Mr. Speaker, on the conduct of police, which this morning we finally have the opportunity to listen to. But more particularly, Mr. Speaker, is this death that has struck the conscience of the nation and brought everybody, all out, any Kenyan of goodwill, to want to know what really happened. And you know, Mr. Speaker, like I observed just as a last comment, because I don't want to take time, want to listen to the people that are appearing before us, Mr. Speaker, we were reminded yesterday that when we had the unfortunate demise of one of our colleagues, there was such serious attention to that particular matter that almost on an hourly basis, we were being briefed as a country of what happened. The motorbike that followed him, the vehicle registration, the occupants, their details. It didn't take more than 24 hours, Mr. Speaker. As it is today, there's very little that we know. I think to the best of my knowledge, Mr. Speaker, I've only seen the names of the officers who were on duty at the Central Police Station. Up to now, nobody knows who are the officers that picked young Albert Ojwang from Migori, how he was driven, what was his status when he arrived at Central Police Station. Those are things which, as a leader, you want to know, Mr. Speaker, so that you begin to appreciate the things that are before us. It is important to also hear from the Police Service Commission, Mr. Speaker, because there's a particular complex matter of the Deputy Inspector General, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Langat is a gentleman I know, a very diligent officer, but he finds himself in a situation that I don't envy. When you're the deputy of an institution and you make a complaint, which is the right thing to do, that when you feel your rights have been violated, you make a complaint. But unfortunately, the situation gets complicated by the fact that officers who report to him went and picked this particular young man, and that particular young man died under very mysterious circumstances. Mr. Speaker, it would have been neater if it was up to me to advise Mr. Langat that nobody has said that you're guilty, but for the country to appreciate, and for myself, even as your friend, to appreciate and be clear of my conscience that what really happened, that you step aside until investigations are concluded, Mr. Speaker, so that we appreciate and we know what really happened. Otherwise, as it is, no person of good conscience, even if you are to remain and stand firm and the things that are being said about it, absolving you, but that is just, it's not in my place. It's the chairperson of the Police Service Commission to tell us how such matters are to be handled, Mr. Speaker. If it was a separate institution that was handling, then by very well reporting and making reports, Mr. Speaker, about what happened, people will have appreciated that he did the right thing. I don't want to indulge, Mr. Speaker, into the pros and the cons of what is before us, Mr. Speaker. What is important is senators to take this time to appreciate what is before us, a very solemn moment for the country, and for the country to watch and listen and get to learn. With those very many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move this motion and request the Senator for Kitui, the Deputy Leader of Minority, to second, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to second the motion as moved by the Majority Leader of the suspension of a debate to listen to and interrogate the CS in charge of security, the chair of the National Police Service, the chair of IPO and the Inspector General of Police on matters in security, and specifically the murder of Albert Omondi Ojwang. Mr. Speaker, one person that is glued on their television this morning is the father of Albert. We have an opportunity that perhaps he doesn't have. Whatever it is that you're going to do, Mr. Speaker, when those officers appear before us, we must know that our first responsibility is to the father of Albert to get answers for him. Who killed his son? And why was that son killed? Mr. Speaker, I think if we can achieve that within the first 20, 30 minutes, we'll begin the process of closure for a father who is mourning his son. The Speaker, there are children, school children in Taita Taveta who are glued on their televisions and they want to know who killed their teacher and why their teacher was killed. Speaker, these are very, very heavy assignment that we have today. We must, all of us, rise to the occasion, Mr. Speaker, and transact this matter in the most objective way that we can ever do. We make sure that we get answers for Kenyans and for the family, relatives, and friends of Albert. The Speaker, as I conclude, there is an aspect in this incident that we need to get clarity on. Those of us who have interacted with the National Police Service, we know, Mr. Speaker, that there is always this operational tiff between CID officers and the regular police officers. You know, the CID officers don't have cells of their own. So they arrest whoever they arrest, and they book them in cells in police stations. The Speaker, the officers that arrested Albert, were they from the regular police or were they from the CID department? And when they arrested him, where they arrested him was Nairobi Central Police Station, the first destination in Nairobi? Or is it possible that this young man was tortured and beaten up, almost killed in a different place, and brought to the station almost dead? Mr. Speaker, these are important questions for us to ask so that we direct and assign responsibility where it belongs. I associate myself fully with the comments of the majority leader in relation to the DIG, Mr. Lagat, who is also known to me. The Speaker, perhaps what he did in reporting harassment, perhaps the reporting was the right thing to do. It is the right thing to do. To report that I feel harassed, somebody is really attacking me, that's the right thing to do. But what followed after that, Mr. Speaker? And for purposes of closure, for purposes of bringing calm in the country, perhaps what the DIG should have done by now is to say, I acted in good faith, and as a demonstration of that good faith and continuation of that good faith, I'm leaving office. Let investigations continue. If I'm found culpable, I should be taken to court. If I am exonerated, I go back to service because I did the right thing. That is how you bring closure to a matter like this. The Speaker, my whip is telling me we need to start, and I agree with him. With those many remarks, the Speaker, I second.
Honorable Senators, I will now propose the question that pursuant to Standing Order 38.1, the Senate do suspend its proceedings for not more than 2 hours in order to allow senators to efficiently interrogate the Cabinet Secretary for Interior National Administration, the Inspector General of Police, the chairpersons of the Independent Policing Oversight Authority and that of the National Police Service Commission regarding the safety and well-being of arrested persons in police custody, and in particular the circumstances surrounding the death of Albert Ojwang. Now, Honorable Senators, this is a procedural motion. We need not debate on it. With your concurrence, I may proceed to put the question. Thank you. I will therefore proceed to put the question. That pursuant to Standing Order 38.1, the Senate do suspend its proceedings for not more than 2 hours in order to allow senators to efficiently interrogate the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, the Inspector General of Police, and the chairpersons of the Independent Policing Oversight Authority and that of the National Police Service Commission regarding the safety and well-being of arrested persons in police custody, and in particular the circumstances surrounding the death of Albert Ojwang. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Now, Clerk, you, as the Sergeant at Arms, knows the mess, kindly usher in the CS and his team.
Well, the business of the House has commenced, and we have seen the leader of the majority move the motion to have the House temporarily suspended, or rather the sitting temporarily suspended, of course, to allow the senators efficiently interrogate the Cabinet Secretary, Kipchumba Murkomen, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, with his team. Right now, what we are waiting for is for them to be ushered in. We have seen the Sergeant at Arms setting up the stand that is right at the entrance of the Senate chambers. That is where the team or the security personnel that will be appearing before the Senate this morning will be taking their positions. The communication from the Speaker indicated that this will be a live broadcast. Of course, the media is also allowed in to be able to follow up on the proceedings. That is the Cabinet Secretary taking his position, the IG, and once the Cabinet Secretary and his team have taken their positions, then the proceedings will continue. We have seen the mess being covered. That is, if the House is the sitting is suspended, normally the mess is covered, and that gives room for the Cabinet Secretary and any other person aside from the senators to be able to walk into the chamber and sit the positions that have been set aside for them to be able to work on the business that has led to their appearance before the Senate. Remember, this morning, as is the tradition, the Cabinet Secretary would have appeared for questioning, but arising from the concerns on the death of Albert Ojwang in police custody that has seen public uproar, the Senate, in a resolution, decided to invite the Cabinet Secretary, the Inspector General of Police, the chairpersons for Independent Policing Oversight Authority, as well as the National Police Service Commission chairperson, to come and shed light on the circumstances under which Albert Ojwang lost his life. Remember, he had been arrested from Homa Bay County and was transferred all the way to Nairobi. And these are questions that not just the members of the Senate would want to understand or get answers to, but the public as well, and also the family of the late Ojwang. So this is a session that will see the members of the Senate, on behalf of the public, seek answers to the concerns. Once the House is ready to commence this particular business, of course, we shall be able to let you in to listen and follow on the proceedings. But we understand that this particular business. Okay, allow me to hand you over to the proceedings.
Interior and his team in the House?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we do.
Let me take this opportunity to welcome the CS, Interior and National Administration, and your team to the Senate. Now, Honorable CS, you were to appear today for purposes of responding to 15 questions that had been posed by honorable senators. However, this morning we've had to suspend the sittings of the Senate to address a matter that is extremely urgent and is of a nationwide concern. That is the matter touching on the death of one Mr. Albert Omondi Ojwang. And therefore, we have suspended the sitting of the Senate for not more than 2 hours so that we interrogate this particular matter. Thereafter, we will resume the normal flow of the order paper of the day by allowing you to respond to the questions that are scheduled for you to respond today. Once the 2 hours are done on interrogating this particular matter, you will be requested to move to the other side of the chamber where ordinarily CSs respond to questions in the Senate. So yesterday I did direct that the CS appears with the Inspector General, with the chairperson of the National Police Service Commission, and also the chairperson of the Independent Policing Oversight Authority. Can we have a confirmation that those parties are also present, Clerk? I've just asked something. Let the clerk answer the question, then I will give you an opportunity.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I confirm they are present in the House.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Boni.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for this unprecedented decision. But, Mr. Speaker, we don't want to do anything this morning in vain. because Parliament does not speak in vain. Having suspended the sittings of the House, you can see the mess has been now insulated. It has got legal implications. It means, therefore, Mr. Speaker, technically, whatever we shall transact during these 2 hours will not count. I would like you to clarify to the House, to the country, and especially to the family of Albert Omondi, why Senate wants to sit for 2 hours to transact business that will not technically count.
Senator Boni, if you listen to my communication, the last paragraph was to that effect, that whatever is going to be transacted in this particular session will input the report of the Standing Committee on Defense, on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations. Because if you're aware, if you're here yesterday, this matter was committed to that committee. However, honorable senators wanted to engage directly with the CS and his team. I have directed that the Hansard editor to compile a report, which report will be made available to the Standing Committee on Defense, on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations. As they prepare their report, that report is going to benefit from whatever will transpire in this particular session. And therefore, this particular session is not in vain. In fact, it is going to play a major role in shaping the report that will be tabled before this House. Having directed so, yes.
Honorable Speaker, understanding that we are sitting as a committee of the whole, I want to kindly request that before any of the gentlemen appearing before anything, including their names, they be put under oath. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Senator Wambua.
Thank you, the Speaker. The Speaker, but mine is just clarity from the Chair. Follow up to what Senator Alwala is saying. So, at the end of this session, are we going to have a resolution of the Senate or resolutions from this sitting that will be binding? That will be binding to the committee to which then this matter has been directed.
Yes, Senator Fernandez.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. I raise understanding order 183 because we need clarity, borrowing on what Senator Sifuna and Senator Kalwala have said. When all matters referred to a committee of the whole have been considered, the chairperson shall be directed by motion to report to the Senate. Mr. Speaker, you are the one, and of course, I believe in your capacity and ability to chair, but my only concern, I know we can establish traditions and precedent, that our standing order under 183 directs that the chairperson of the committee of the whole will be directed by the motion of the Senate to be prepared. So my question, would it be you or the chairperson of national security, so that you are the neutral arbiter, so that when the motion will be moved with the resolution of the Senate under your Solomonic guidance, which you did yesterday, I think there needs to be clarity, because now that the mess is no longer there, and this is the committee of the whole, and I'm well versed with the establishment and the ground rules of the committee of the whole, Mr. Speaker, will it be in order that now that we have transit as a committee of the whole, with all tremendous respect for the chairperson of national security, which will be directed by standing order number 183 to prepare the report. So we need that clarity, Mr. Speaker, so that when we are finishing, after interrogating the Ministry of Interior on this issue of national importance, we can have clarity. That is only my clarification, Mr. Speaker, sir. But I'm aware of your powers in standing order number 1 of the standing orders of the Senate. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Now, honorable senators, for purposes of bringing clarity to this session, This is not a committee of the whole. The House is suspended. We have just suspended the sittings of the Senate pursuant to Standing Order 38. And therefore, this is not a committee of the whole. I don't need to report after this to the whole. The House is suspended. We have just suspended the sittings of the Senate pursuant to Standing Order 38. And therefore, this is not a committee of the whole. I don't need to report after this to any other person or Honorable CS and your team, welcome back to the Senate. Now, Honorable Senators, just like I stated in my communication, we are going to allow the CS and his team to respond to the questions that have already been posed. Thereafter, we'll take a second round of questions. So, Honorable CS, you have the floor. All the questions that have been directed to you, you may proceed to respond to them. Thereafter, the IG will follow. After the IG will hear responses from IPO. After IPO, we will hear from the National Police Service Commission. And lastly, we'll hear DCI. You may proceed, Honorable CS.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, let me appreciate all the members for the questions they've raised, but also for suggestions they've given on areas of improvement, particularly in terms of law and operation of the National Police Service. Mr. Speaker, we have taken notes, but also we will benefit from the Hansard so that we can be able to make sure that all, especially the policy and regulatory suggestions, Mr. Speaker, are going to be taken into consideration. Mr. Speaker, I understood this assignment. First of all, let me say this. I came here today not because I was called, not because a letter, I saw any letter, maybe it was sent from your office. I just saw you live, Mr. Speaker, yesterday. And once you announced live that you will lead the minister from here, I did not even take 5 minutes. I called the IG. And I told the IG and the chair of IPO that we must go to Senate. So, Mr. Speaker, I am very grateful that there is a forum like this for us to be held into account. And like many colleagues have said here, that the same exercise I used to do before to hold others into account, Mr. Speaker, I must also abide by the same process to be held into account. So, Mr. Speaker, I respect the authority of this House. Mr. Speaker, I also want to correct an impression that may have been created by my statement. Remember that Senator Eddy, when he rose, he said, Mr. Speaker, he wanted the Cabinet Secretary to shed light on what I saw with my eyes as the possible persons culpable insofar as the murder of Mr. Albert Ojwang is concerned. Mr. Speaker, I must say this, that it is that led me to Article 245 of the Constitution. And Mr. Speaker, most people may have misconstrued to mean that the Cabinet Secretary does not have responsibility to oversight the National Police Service in the work they do, whether it is in excesses of police officers or in other policy issues. Mr. Speaker, that's far from the truth. I confined myself, Mr. Speaker, I zeroed in on Article 245, subsection 4, Mr. Speaker, for purpose of the investigation, specific investigation touching on this particular gentleman. Mr. Speaker, it will be a violation of our Constitution if, as a Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Speaker, I would now arrogate myself a responsibility contrary to Article 245(4) of the Constitution, where when an investigation is done, if it is suspected that a senator has committed an offense, and as a Cabinet Secretary starts saying, I call the IG and tell IG, go arrest so-and-so, investigate so-and-so, charge so-and-so, the people of Kenya under Article 245 of the Constitution wanted to remove the possibility of any person, not just the Cabinet Secretary, a senator, a president, and any other person would direct investigations into any matter outside the authority of the National Police Service and the Inspector General himself. That is why the only exception given, Mr. Speaker, is the office of the DPP, who can give directions to the IG to carry out investigations. So I want to correct that impression. It doesn't mean that I don't have an eye to make sure that there's a policy framework where police brutality must be dealt with in the country, that we must deal with issues related to abductions, Mr. Speaker, that we must deal with issues, Mr. Speaker, that are related to extrajudicial killings, among others. That is a responsibility that not just the Cabinet Secretary, but also the National Security Council, as everybody has said here, carries out an oversight responsibility on that matter. I want to correct that impression because I saw everybody was riding on that particular section of Article 245. And if I may read again, Mr. Speaker, it says that no person may give a direction to the Inspector General with respect to the investigation of any particular offences or offenses the enforcement of the law against any particular person or persons. But enforcement of the law generally, I can give directions policy-wise. Investigations generally to acts or resurgence of certain acts or omissions, Mr. Speaker, or offenses, Mr. Speaker, I can be able to give the direction. But I cannot wake up here and say, Senator Eddie be investigated, or Senator so-and-so. That is what Kenyans were running away from. Number two, Mr. Speaker, is to say that it is also not right for me, under the same article, to give direction as to the employment, assignment, promotion, suspension, or dismissal of any person who works in the National Police Service. Again, the people of Kenya wanted to remove a situation where political leaders, including the Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Speaker, would use their position to determine whether a police officer will be transferred, will be promoted, will be fired, will be hired. Mr. Speaker, that was the intention of the people of Kenya, to insulate the National Police Service and to make sure that it's an independent institution. But that does not mean that under policy direction, we cannot tell the Inspector General that any person who is found committing an offense must be removed. That is a policy direction, but not to superintend upon the rules of the IG by picking on specific officers to say, arrest this or leave this other person. If that clarity is achieved, Mr. Speaker, then Mr. Speaker, the problem that people had, including Senator Kalwale, on the question of I do not have an eye. I do not have an eye constitutionally of superintending upon specific investigations, but I have an eye of ensuring that the National Police Service operate under the Constitution and the law, Mr. Speaker. I needed to make sure that I clear that issue. On the other issues, Mr. Speaker, I saw my friend Senator Kalwale had said, Mr. Speaker, because of that Article 245 of the Constitution, therefore, Mr. Speaker, I should abdicate my responsibility. Mr. Speaker, like has been said by many senators here, Senator Ojwang, Senator Kio, Mr. Speaker, on my position, and they have said what I did when I was in this House. My position has never changed, Mr. Speaker. I am, as like the Caleb in the Bible said, I am as strong as I was 5 years ago. Mr. Speaker, my position on the issues of brutality, my position, Mr. Speaker, on anything extrajudicial killings, my position, Mr. Speaker, on matters abductions remain the same position I had in this office, in this Senate. Mr. Speaker, let me say how. Mr. Speaker, when I go to office, I made sure that on the question, and you know, some people speak as though I've been in this office for 6 months. Mr. Speaker, I'm not yet even 6 months since I joined this office, but I'm glad that many people have expectation in me. I know even of a particular senator, Mr. Speaker, who never even waited for 2 months, whose natural national chorus is Murkomen must resign, Murkomen must be fired. Mr. Speaker, even when I was 2 months to the office, that was the song he was singing. Mr. Speaker, I am used to that song. But the point I want to make is that as a cabinet secretary, Mr. Speaker, when I go to office, I know, Mr. Speaker, for sure that there were challenges in our National Police Service. Mr. Speaker, in any case, the statement you have asked me to come and answer today, if it were not for the issue of Albert Ojwang, is in relation to last year's unfortunate incidents that happened on 25th of June. Mr. Speaker, where a number of cases are under investigations. Mr. Speaker, a few years ago, the question of Baby Pendo. Mr. Speaker, a few years ago, the question of Koome. Mr. Speaker, I disclose here that lawyer Kimani was my friend. I knew him. Mr. Speaker, in all those investigations, Mr. Speaker, the Independent Police Oversight Authority did their job. Even as Senator Metu was saying, there might be a cover-up. In the case of Senator Kimani, because I follow, Wakili Kimani, in that particular case, Mr. Speaker, there was an attempt to cover up. But, Mr. Speaker, because of the work that IPO did, 6 police officers are now, Mr. Speaker, on the queue waiting to be hanged because of what they did to kill a lawyer, Mr. Speaker, whose job was only to defend his client. Mr. Speaker, therefore, there is enough precedent to deal with matters that are related to police brutality and extrajudicial killing. Mr. Speaker, I personally, even though I am not part and parcel of this investigation, I have no doubt in my mind, Mr. Speaker, that if the speed that IPO is using and the cooperation National Police Service is giving, Mr. Speaker, that the perpetrators of this heinous act against Albert, Mr. Speaker, will be brought to book. And, Mr. Speaker, I have no doubt in my mind that if our judiciary, working closely with the DPP and the investigators, these people will just follow the same route that other police officers in the past have followed who have committed 16 years act. I wanted to give that assurance to the people of Kenya. And the Kipchumba of that time is the same one. Mr. Speaker, I went to Nakuru. Brian Odhiambo, his mother confronted me because Brian Odhiambo was kidnapped and taken to, I think it was National Park. Mr. Speaker, the investigations have stopped. The arrest was not happening. But Mr. Speaker, when I came back, I told the investigation authorities, it is your responsibility to make sure that those who have participated in the kidnapping of Brian Odhiambo must be brought to book. Mr. Speaker, as a result of that pressure I put in as a cabinet secretary, those people were charged in the court in Nakuru. Mr. Speaker, on matters of abductions, since I entered office, I have been very vocal, Mr. Speaker, including an investigation that is ongoing regarding a member of parliament. And Mr. Speaker, we will unearth all those cases of abductions. Mr. Speaker, when we came to office, even though I was not a cabinet secretary, Mr. Speaker, the president gave directions to the country during campaign and after we came to office that he does not want to see extrajudicial killing, he doesn't want to see bodies in River Yala, he doesn't want to see bodies in River Tana, he doesn't want to see bodies in Abadeas of people who have been abducted and killed. Mr. Speaker, we may not have exterminated completely these criminals who are doing these acts. But Mr. Speaker, I can tell you there is no systematic or planned such acts in government. And Mr. Speaker, there is not by accident that as this administration came to office, there are no bodies that are found in River Yala or River Tana, Mr. Speaker. Why? Because we took a stand position, Mr. Speaker, and we'll continue in that direction. And Mr. Speaker, I am glad that now we enjoy this level of democracy and freedom to speak. Even those who presided over the ministry when bodies were floating in River Yala, Mr. Speaker, now have the freedom to call us into order. And Mr. Speaker, it is because they know this is a government that is responsive to the things that the people of Kenya are asking for. And I want to assure the nation that I am the same Kipchumba who was a valiant soldier in this house. I will use the same vigor, Mr. Speaker, to exterminate all kinds of, Mr. Speaker, criminal activities within the police. And the police know. And I have told them clearly, in all the forum, Mr. Speaker, I established what is called Jukwaa la Usalama. In this Jukwaa la Usalama, all the OCSs attend the meeting. In every county, Mr. Speaker, we've completed coast and eastern 14 counties. Mr. Speaker, in all those forums, I want to assure the House that as a cabinet secretary, I have told the police officer in no uncertain terms that anybody who is going to be found to carry out such kind of extrajudicial killing will carry their burden. Let me come to the specific questions, Mr. Speaker, that touched on me. Number one, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, that was the first question by Senator Kalwale. Mr. Speaker, there is Senator Ojwang asked Mr. Speaker about, again, and I've responded to that question generally about my record and so forth. Mr. Speaker, on the extrajudicial killings, Senator also Ojwang asked Mr. Speaker whether I have given any policy directions related to, Mr. Speaker, this issue of Mr. Speaker, how to handle an arrested person. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the, let me just refer to this. If you look at the police standing orders, Mr. Speaker, at the moment, Mr. Speaker, and I don't want to read so that I give time to everybody to respond, because it's a long list, maybe I'll table later. The police standing orders already prescribe and provide, Mr. Speaker, how to handle a police officer, including before you book in, not a police officer, a suspect. Before you book in a suspect, you must confirm that he was in good health or not, Mr. Speaker. And those regulations...
Honorable Senators, he has just said he will table, but
yes.
He wants to pick a few statements from
yes.
there before he does that.
So, Mr. Speaker, it says that the guidelines, Mr. Speaker, require that you must determine the health and general conditions of the suspect. Every arrested person shall be granted police bond and bail at the earliest opportunity. All suspects must undergo mental and physical health screening at the time of booking. The suspect must be immediately booked upon arrest and entry record in the occurrence book. All movements of the suspect into and out of the cell must be recorded in the OB. And if you had the investigations that are ongoing, they are telling us when he was booked in, when he was removed, Mr. Speaker, and that will assist the IPO in the investigation, that occurrence book. Mr. Speaker, police cells must not be overcrowded. Space per detainee must conform to minimum standards. The booking officer must inform the suspect of their basic rights. communication must suspect. All this, it is not the absence of the legal framework or policy directions that led to the killing of Mr. Albert Ojwang, Mr. Speaker. It is blatant disregard of the law and the Constitution. And that's why we are not coming here to give excuses that it is in the absence of a policy direction from the ministry. No, Mr. Speaker, it is just blatant disregard. If you see how that gentleman was beaten, Mr. Speaker, the person who did it is an animal. And it calls upon all of us to say that that person must face justice, and it at the shortest time possible, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, there is absolutely no reason on my side, Mr. Speaker, to try to hide anything, Mr. Speaker, because that investigations, as I said earlier, covering other previous police officers have led to them being held into account. Mr. Speaker, Senator Mungatana asked the question of training of police officers. On the questions of human rights, I must confirm here that there has been progressive growth in terms of training of police officers. However, Mr. Speaker, the truth is that because of lack of resources, Mr. Speaker, our police officers, last training they have is the day they were recruited, Mr. Speaker. Only those in the higher cadre, Mr. Speaker, and all who sometimes get to go to promotion get to be trained, but a large number of our police officers do not get to go through this promotion. And therefore, one of the things that the National Police Service has been pushing, and we will push with them, and I will help them push this issue, is to make sure that budgetary allocation is provided, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that the police get money to continuous training and updating their knowledge on human rights. Mr. Speaker, it's also expected that when you punish perpetrators like this, Mr. Speaker, it was always expected that it would send a message to others. But like any other society, when you have a force of 120,000 police officers, you will find a small number of them, Mr. Speaker, violating the Constitution and the law. Mr. Speaker, Senator Mogeni, I suspect I've answered this question, whether I had any responsibility, supervisory responsibility as part of the Security Council, and I said yes. Mr. Speaker, the only answer I gave that I didn't have an eye on, and I am not supposed to do, is to meddle on specific investigation. If I do so, it will reach a stage where our cabinet secretary will be picking people politically on who's to be charged and who's not be charged, and that is what the Constitution tried to remove from us. Mr. Speaker, on the question of Senator Wambua, I think generally I've also answered by the statement I made, except to add that, Mr. Speaker, I want to assure my friend Senator Wambua that I did demand answers from the Inspector General of Police. The only difference is that because I'm a cabinet secretary, I cannot demand in public. I cannot call a press conference to demand speedy investigation from the Inspector General or to request him to make sure that the people of Kenya get answers in good time. It is because we work together. I can give him a call and to tell him to speed up the process. And I think if you think that this is an issue that was reported on Sunday, and Mr. Speaker, today is Tuesday, the speed, Mr. Speaker, is commendable. And I believe that if the IPO can move in the same speed, it should be in a few days, and I don't want to commit myself because they are independent. They should commit themselves to, in the shortest time possible, to make sure that that file is taken to the DPP office. I also agree with the sentiments from Senator Veronica Maina, Mr. Speaker, on the human rights, on the reform program, that it must continue. There is a team that is currently constituted in the ministry that is working on the reform program. I have also asked a team, my own team in my own office, to look at all the legislation on issues of abductions and extrajudicial killing, if there are also areas that we need to close the gap to make sure that at least internally from our police force, there is no possibility of any person involving themselves in that issue. And Mr. Speaker, if I get areas where it needs legislative reform, I will come back to this House for support. Mr. Speaker, I agree with her that in one way or another we must support Albert's family, and I hope that those who will be found culpable also will be held into account, Mr. Speaker, over and above us just supporting from as government, and also all of us who are sitting here, perhaps from our own calling and generosity. Mr. Speaker, there was also a suggestion from Senator Dulo that we may need to look at the use of the computer misuse law. Mr. Speaker, we were here, we debated this law, there were issues, it went to High Court, it went to Court of Appeal, where it is at the moment. Mr. Speaker, some of those issues, we can relook at them. Mr. Speaker, even the team that I've constituted in my office, I've told them to look at all the decisions of the courts, including Justice Ogola's rules, among others, Mr. Speaker, on how to handle a suspect, so that then we can see if we are getting the standing orders or we are coming up with new regulations that will make sure that our police service is a bit, Mr. Speaker, up to date. Mr. Speaker, I know that I have been asked whether I should run away from this responsibility. Mr. Speaker, for the 6 months I've been in this office, nearly 6 months I've been in this office, the effort and the energy I've put to revamp this ministry, Mr. Speaker, gives me hope that in the near future we will see the fruits of this responsibility. Mr. Speaker, I know that in moments like this, like those who went before me and others who have other responsibilities, Mr. Speaker, these are the moments that the duty to serve overrides, Mr. Speaker, the condemnation to throw in the towel. It is important as a leader, when you are faced with challenges, to provide solutions. If you become the kind of a leader that runs away from solutions, Mr. Speaker, then you miss that opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I've been asked by Mr. Nyutu and Senator Nyutu and Senator Kalwale, Mr. Speaker, the question of why, Mr. Speaker, I should not ask the DIG Langat to step aside. Mr. Speaker, let me say this, that, Mr. Speaker, this is an ongoing investigation. To the best of my knowledge so far, the information we only have is that the Deputy Inspector General of Police, despite being the DIG, took the step to report what he thought was an act of or a crime committed against him. And Mr. Speaker, went as low as reporting this to the DCI, and that investigation was done. And in the process of this investigation, somebody has died. Mr. Speaker, nobody has told me here whether the investigations lead to a particular result, whether it is to protect him or to exonerate him or to charge him, Mr. Speaker, is not my responsibility. That responsibility rests with independent police oversight authority if they find any culpability, Mr. Speaker. The rule of law demands from all of us, God forbid, should a senator here, at the rank of minority leader, for example, report a case to the police and the suspect is arrested and dies in custody, God forbid that the minority leader, someone will say he must take responsibility. In the same breath, Mr. Speaker, there must be a link between the crime and the individual. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I will ask IPO, and as I said earlier, as the Cabinet Secretary, I will not play a role in pushing for a particular person to be charged or a particular person to be exonerated. The evidence must lead to the suspect, Mr. Speaker. And when we are going for anybody, it must be based on evidence. Otherwise, if we lose that rule of law, people will be taking advantage of such occasions to do the same. Mr. Speaker, ask yourself, I was here in this chamber, Mr. Speaker, when as I said, my friend Kimani was abducted by police officers and killed in Machakos. Mr. Speaker, I was here when the case of Pepe Pendo happened. I was here when Koome happened. Mr. Speaker, the process, even when people thought that there will be no justice, justice was found because the right process was followed by IPO. I think we should support IPO to do their job instead of getting ourselves to the direction where the House can direct who should be charged and who not be charged. Mr. Speaker, I was a bit worried. I know there is privilege in the chamber. I was a bit worried when senators divert to the attention of determining who is to be charged and who is not to be charged. Mr. Speaker, it violates the same Article 245 of the Constitution and affects the question of rule of law. What we should be demanding is that every person who will be found culpable, led by the evidence, must be brought to book, regardless of the position, regardless of his relationship with anybody. Mr. Speaker, and the last thing was, there was something to do with reforms again. And to close in, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to assure Senator Haji. Mr. Speaker, when Senator Haji spoke, I was fighting tears because he spoke for all of us and he spoke for this country. Mr. Speaker, the life of Albert Ojwang is as painful, Mr. Speaker, as the life of Father Alois, who was killed by criminals. It's also as painful as the life of that person killed in Garissa. It's the same as the ones who died in Todonyang where I visited recently, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, in the national security architecture, we take every life seriously. We are glad that there is an opportunity today to discuss the question of the life of Mr. Albert Ojwang. I do not take it away from those who brought it to this chamber. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to assure the country that we take the same seriousness in every other life, just like the case of Albert. And I hope that also this chamber and the Republic will be conscious to deal with these issues when they come before us. Mr. Speaker, I remain seized of this matter. I will remain accountable to this House, and therefore, Mr. Speaker, I'm ready and willing to ensure that I respond to all the questions that this chamber. Mr. Speaker, in any case, in the statement I was going to bring to this House, there are also very weighty issues about abductions and police brutalities and citizens killing during protests last year. And I believe that, Mr. Speaker, when we get the time to come back again, these issues will have to be ventilated based on the responses that we are going to bring to this chamber. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now we are going to hear responses from the IG. IG, you mentioned the name of the senator and the question and proceed to respond so that we save on time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. The honorable members of the Senate. Let me start by saying that I appreciate you very much. The questions that were raised here, they are questions that are weighty. They are questions that are very valid. They are questions that are also going to assist us, even when we're looking at our standard operating procedures and so forth. So I really, really appreciate your contribution, the questions that you asked. They are very, very important to us. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, sir, let me say that when I was being vetted by Parliament, I did inform the Parliament that I will operate within the frameworks of the law. And I demanded the same from my officers, the members of the National Police Service, to operate within the frameworks of the law. That is the reason why myself as the Inspector General and the leadership of the National Police Service, we are pained by the loss of the late Ojwang in our police cells there. We are pained. As a parent, I'm also pained for losing young Ojwang. I feel pained. Now, when we go to the questions, the first question was by Honorable Senator Okeshi. The circumstances that led to the death of the late Albert Ojwang. These circumstances are being investigated by IPO. And as my CS has said, let us give IPO an opportunity so that they can quickly be able to investigate and tell us openly exactly what really happened. Number two, there was this report of Albert having hit his head against the wall. That is the information that came, the primary information that came from the same station. But in the subsequent press briefing that I did, that was rectified, and in fact, we can even be able to see it very, very clearly by the results of the investigations. There was this question that was asked by Honorable Senator Medho. Why was he taken to Bagathi and not Kenyatta National Hospital, which probably could be a little bit near? Let me say this. Both of them are government hospitals, both Kenyatta and Bagathi Hospital. Maybe for the officers who are taking him to hospital, they made a decision to take him to Bagathi, but both of them are government hospitals. And we believe that they have got what it takes to treat a sick person. Then there is also this question of the interdiction of the officers. Why is it that the Inspector General did interdict the officers immediately? The reasons as to why I did interdict the officer commanding Central Police Station, the duty officer of the night when the late Albert Ojwang lost his life, the officers who are manning the report office, manning
IG, just pause. Yes, what's your intervention, Senator Fakelev?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I can see he has now going to be answering those questions which were asked. I had a question as to why was he not arrested, charged, or put whatever in a custody or something like that in Homa Bay? Why did he have to travel all the way from Homa Bay to Nairobi and ended up losing his life here?
Senator Fakelev, the IG has a list of all those questions. He will get to yours. Just be patient. Proceed, IG.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. This question was actually asked by Honorable Senator Medo, as to why I did interdict these officers, because these were the officers who were on duty there. And we wanted to ensure that once the IPO takes over, the investigations are smooth and there's no one who is going to interfere with those investigations. That's why we wanted them to step aside and allow free investigation, because we wanted expeditious investigations to be carried out. We wanted to know who is this or who are these who committed that heinous crime. And we want to know it as quickly as possible. There was the question from for Bonharwere. That one has been answered by my CS. Then the question from Honorable Senator Manzayo, why Albert Ojwang was arrested in Homa Bay and why he had to be transported up to Nairobi. This question, the DCI is going to answer it very, 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 very clearly as to the reasons why he was transported from Homa Bay up to Nairobi. But basically, it is because in Nairobi, that is where the offense was actually committed, but DCI is going to give more details on that. Why the CCTVs were again interfered with? That is another question that was also asked by Senator Masayo. The Independent Police Oversight Authority is investigating the entire scene of crime. And they are going to tell us exactly what happened with the CCTVs. And if there is anyone who was involved in that, then punishment must be meted to an officer of that nature. So the same case applies to the question, who are these police officers who committed the crime of murder to the late Albert Ojwang? Again, we are waiting for answers from IPO, who are right now investigating the same. And we are looking forward to the resolution of that issue soonest possible, because it's something that have actually captured the entire country into what happened on that date. The question from Honorable Senator Ojwang. Now, this question of withdrawing and apologizing to the Senate and the country on the question of the late Ojwang, Ojwang having committed hit his head on the walls. I think, as I said from the word go, we allow the IPOA to investigate, and they are going to give us concrete answers. Because I have already indicated that in the subsequent media briefings that I did, that situation was actually corrected.
IG.
On whether...
IG, you need to respond to that question in a better way. This was the question by Senator Ojwang, that through your official communication, the first information you put out there to the public was that the young man had hit his head against the wall and therefore died. Later on, after the autopsy was carried out, it was found to be totally different. The question that the senator then rose to ask was, would you, having put that communication to the public, that the young man hit his head on the wall and died, would you withdraw that particular communication and proceed to apologize to the nation? That was the question the Honorable Senator asked. If you're unable to do that, you can also, that's also an answer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. On that question, let me say this. Number one, if in the ongoing investigations by the IPOA investigators, we get to know the truth, the officers who issued the initial report that we relied upon, then they will have to face disciplinary proceedings as provided for by the regulations by providing incorrect information. So we are awaiting the outcome of the investigations of IPOA in that.
IG, we've had the benefit of hearing the representative of IPOA in the morning, and they were very categorical on what caused the death of this young man. What more do you want to hear?
Mr. Speaker, sir, from what we have heard here from the IPOA, although we have not yet gotten that report, we will proceed on and take appropriate measures on the officer who gave the primary report on that material day.
We have taken note. IG, proceed.
Then there was also the second question.
Honorable Senators, I think we are doing pretty well now. We are doing very well. What is your intervention, Honorable Mungatana? Now, IG, the reason why you are attracting a lot of intervention is because you do not want to open up and just tell the senators exactly what happened. We are here to hear the truth. Just give us the truth, and there'll be minimal interventions. Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I have a lot of respect for the current IGP. In fact, a very professional police officer. But I wanted to remind him, the Constitution has given us, under Article 238, the principles of national security. And Mr. Speaker, on 238(2)(c, it says, in performing the functions and exercising their powers, national security organs shall respect the diverse culture of the communities within Kenya. And Honorable Senator Ojwang has said, to imply suicide from his cultural background, it is attracting a huge
stigmatization of that family. So I'm inviting the IGP to offer an unconditional apology to the Senate in view of the post-mortem report that has been made public. And then we proceed, Mr. Speaker.
Mungatana is clear. IG.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. It is true, as Senator Mungatana has said, that going by the report that we have gotten from IPO, that it is not true, he did not hit his head against the wall, but that is the report that we had from the word go. I tell my apology on behalf of the National Police Service because of that information. So there was also the question of how the police are trained. That question was clearly answered by my CS. He also did mention that funds is also another constraint that has been delivering the National Police Service to enable us to train everybody within the service. Then there was also the question of how many were in the cell. There was also the question of how many were in the cell where Albert was held. Again, Mr. Speaker, sir, this question again will also be answered very clearly in the investigations by the IPO of how many were actually in that cell. The questions by Senator Omugeni. As I have indicated, I myself am a parent. My other senior level commanders, they are parents. By losing Ojwang, it pains me, it pains them. It is not right to lose them in a police cell. Now, when he arrived, or when he was brought in from Homa Bay, he was given an opportunity to call his family back home. As I did indicate from my statement that I was providing, where he did indicate to his wife that they had reached Central Police Station safely and he was safe. So that one confirms that when he reached Central Police Station, he was all right by his own statement to his own family that he was fine. So the second question is about why was Ojwang booked alone in the cells. As I have indicated there earlier, this is something that we are going to be provided with answers by the investigating agency, because these are some of the questions that it must answer. The questions that were raised by Honorable Senator Wabua.
IG, 2 minutes ago you're doing fairly well, but I can see there's a relapse. The question was, why was this young man booked alone in a cell? And your response, if I got you correctly, is that matter is under investigation.
Yes.
Really, is that your response?
Yes. The matter is to establish the correct position.
Senator Ojwang.
Mr. Speaker, I'm assuming that the IG is proceeding sequentially, and he has conveniently avoided two questions that I asked. And that was why the Deputy Inspector General of Police is still in office when he was very quick to interdict or to give directives for junior officers to be out on the basis of the proximate cause theory. And I also asked a very specific question that came out of his submission, that there were other names, there were other 4 persons of interest. Are they alive? Or are they in a ditch somewhere? Are they at City Mortuary? He's supposed to tell us that if he's going sequentially. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, IG.
In regard to the question that was asked by Honorable Senator Ojwang about whether to reassure the House that all the 4 that were mentioned are alive. I'm going to give an answer, but the rest of the details will also be provided for by the DCI. To say this, there was one suspect who was arrested, and by that time he had been placed at Kamukoji police station. When the file went before the ODPP raised issues that needed to be covered. Thereafter, the suspect was set free until such a time when the file goes back to the ODPP and he gives his recommendations. As for the rest, none of them had been arrested. So we believe they are still out there. About why the DIG is still in the office, the reason why I did not go back to that question, it is because the CS had given actually an answer only the same. He did respond.
Yes, proceed, IG. Proceed. We need to save on time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So that question of why Ojwang was booked alone in the cells, as I have answered right now. We are saying.
Honorable Senators, the IG has responded to that question. His answer may not be satisfactory, but it's an answer. That is what he replied. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. The questions that were raised by Honorable Senator Wabua. He first of all registered displeasure of the absence of the chair IPO. I think that one was recorded. The questions that were directed to the IG is when at the Central Police Station, Albert was booked again alone in the cell. And I have answered that question there before. I have answered the question.
IG, can you repeat your response to that question so that it's clear?
My response to that question, I have indicated that why he was booked in that cell alone, it is something that we need the investigating team to also let us know, because there are a number of cells that are at the Central Police Station. And now, at that particular time, I don't have the figures of those who are actually under the custody of those cells. But in the investigation, in the course of the investigations, we are going to get out the answers very, very clearly, Honorable Speaker.
IG, your CS has tabled the police standing orders, which are very clear on how to handle a suspect, book him in, and all that. Under what circumstances, and that is what the senators would wish to know, under what circumstances can a suspect be put in a solitary confinement? And did this young man fit the description so as to be put in a solitary confinement?
Honorable Speaker, once again, thank you very much. The CS have actually tabled the standard operating procedures through which the procedure that the police follow actually when someone is being placed in the cells, somebody has been arrested, brought in, the recording of the OBs, the recording actually in the cell register, and the number of even those suspects that are held in a particular cell is also very clear. So what I am not very, very sure of as at now is, and I'm looking forward to the investigation of the IPO, why is it that he was alone in that cell? Is it that we had more cells? Is it that we did not have others who are there? So we are waiting for that question from IPO.
Proceed, IG. Honorable Senators, let him conclude. We'll get better responses from IPO. But before you proceed, IG, what's your intervention, Senator Andago?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I just needed some small clarification, Honorable Speaker. I thought in the morning I heard the IPOA say, in the progress they have made, they have also recorded a statement from one of the detainees. And maybe the clarification is, was that detainee in the same cell with Ojwang? So that the question of whether Ojwang was actually in the cell alone, can we marry the two? Because IPOA is here and police is here.
Yes, proceed, IG.
Then there was also this question, again from Honorable Senator Wabua, which he asked, how did the OCS confirm Albert Ojwang was fine when he was booked in? So again, that question goes back to the earlier question that I had answered, that when he reached the police station, when he was brought in at the Central Police Station, he was given an opportunity to talk to his spouse, where he did confirm that they had arrived safely and he is fine. And that record is actually in the occurrence book, and it was done by those officers who are at the report office at the Central Police Station. So that is actually the confirmation that he was fine when he reached the police station.
Certainly, it cannot be a point of order, Senator Onyonka. You may put forth your intervention.
Thank you. IG, there's a gentleman who was the OCPD of that police station at Central, Mr. Benjamin Talam. Are you aware that he refused to book Mr. Ojwang when he was brought in, and that is why he was taken to the hospital? And in today's newspaper, he said he refused to accept him because the condition in which he was in, he would not have been accepted into the cells, according to his training.
Mr. Speaker, sir, according to the information that I have, the late Albert Ojwang was booked in at the police station, Central Police Station, at 9:35 hours in the evening, and placed in the cells. Then the OCS, who is responsible for that station, was informed of the same. So the other one from the Honorable Senator, that one I'm not aware.
Honorable Senators, I'm taking note, and Senator Wambua, I'll come back to you. Just run through the questions that you have. For those ones that we feel are not satisfactorily answered, we will certainly have an opportunity, Senator Boni. Just proceed. Yes, Senator Boni.
Mr. Speaker, the public and the Senate are expecting that the witnesses we have this afternoon will shed light. And that light can only come out of the quality of the evidence that they are adducing. Mr. Speaker, there is something called a hostile witness. When a witness deliberately, with due respect to Kanja, either becomes economical with the truth or attempts to evade a question, he's being hostile. What is the value of this exercise if the IG, who is supposed to have convinced himself on how Ojwang was handled, how can he be the same one now deflecting that responsibility to IPOA? He's supposed to give evidence in the same manner he'll give to IPOA when IPOA will call him to appear before them, Mr. Speaker.
I know, Honorable Senators, the beauty of this is that we have all the players before us. He has shifted the burden to IPOA. IPOA is right before us. They will take to this stand, and they will go through exactly the responses that have been put forth by the IG. If the IPOA representative wasn't here, then a lot would have left hanging. So, Honorable Senators, let us be patient. Let us be patient. Let us be patient. Proceed.
Honorable Speaker, maybe I can just lead a small part of my earlier statement. That
just pick the question and respond so that we move.
So the question that had been asked here is, I would like to reply as follows. When they arrived at Central Police Station in Nairobi at approximately 21:17 hours, and at 21:24 hours, Mr. Albert Ojwang contacted his wife via mobile number that is also provided there to inform her of his safe arrival. Chief Inspector Taram, the officer commanding the police station, was contacted through his mobile phone. The number is also provided, and they authorized the booking of PC Mohammed Rashid Hiro Abdurai booked the suspect into the cells after confirming his normal physical and mental state was okay. Filed OB number 136/07/06/2025, which was done at 21:35 hours. That is the information that I have, Honorable Speaker, on that note. There was also the question of who interfered with the CCTV cameras at the station. Honorable Speaker, this question is amongst the many questions that the investigating agency, who are actually looking, who deals with matters, criminal activities by police, to give us an answer on that one, so that we can actually now be able to take appropriate measures with anyone who interfered with the normal settings of the CCTVs around that station. There was also the question from Honorable Senator Veronica. The first question was, who deleted the Albert X account? Again, this question is going to be answered very clearly by the DCI. Who interfered with the CCTV cameras? And whether there is a backup of the same. So on the CCTV cameras, Honorable Speaker, is as I've indicated that we are waiting for the investigations to let us know who is it that actually did that kind of interference. On the issue of whether we have a backup or not, we have already given some experts an assignment on that, and we are going to get that report very soon when we are still here. And then the last one is that question of all police officers must at all times ensure that the rights of the suspects are respected. That is our standard operating procedures. For those who defeated away from that, then they must face the full wrath of the law. That is our position. That the officers, police officers must at all times respect the rights and freedoms of the people, whether they are suspects or not. I'm saying this because, Honorable Senator, police officers are at the forefront in the defense of the rights and freedoms of the people. So any officer who turns against that, he goes against the same law that he is supposed to protect. And they are, all of them, they are aware, out there in all the stations, in all the deployment throughout the Republic, that the rights of suspects, the rights of the other Kenyans must be protected at all times. So as I have said, anyone who goes against that, then he must face the full wrath of the law. The questions from Honorable Senator Duro. Honorable Duro requested that I provide all the documentary evidences of the letters that the DIG did to the DCI. We have them, and I want to promise that by tomorrow, when we are attending the Committee of Senate, we will be having those documents with us. She did ask the same question: why does the police have to drive all the way from Homa Bay, the suspect from Homa Bay to Nairobi? That is, as I have answered there earlier, and the DCI is also going to give additional details on the same. The questions by Senator Abbas, Honorable Senator Abbas. Again, he was actually asking the same question, that there are several police stations along the line that the suspects was, driven from Homa Bay to Nairobi. There are many police stations along the line. So the question is, why is it that he could not be placed in any of these police stations along that transport corridor? My answer is, as earlier stated, that number one, the offense was committed in Nairobi, and that is actually the area of jurisdiction. That is basically the reason why the suspect was actually brought to Nairobi. Then there was also this question from Honorable Senator Haji, where he asked, why is it that the investigations could not be conducted elsewhere where the suspect was arrested? So the answer to that question is that the offense was again committed in Nairobi. That's the reason why the suspect was driven from Homa Bay to Nairobi. The last bit where Honorable Senator Newton, he asked why is it that the investigations have been done so fast? So again, he wanted to know who actually killed the late Albert Ojwang. As I had answered there earlier, Honorable Senator, I'm eagerly waiting to know amongst those officers who are on duty or any other officer who are involved in that transaction, who is it that did, or who is it, or who are they that are involved in the cold-blooded murder of Albert Ojwang. Then there's this question of since when did the police start assessing the well-being of suspects? That question, if you look at our occurrence book, it has got several columns. And in one of the columns, there is the physical state and also even the weather. So we do indicate in that particular column, how is the suspect looking like? Even the weather, if it is raining, we say it is raining. If it is chilly, it is cold. So they are there, they are provided for in that occurrence book, Honorable Senator. So it is on that basis, after he also spoke with the spouse, it was also confirmed that he did confirm that I'm okay and I have arrived safely in Nairobi. So based on that, the OB recorder recorded the same in the occurrence book. And it is there actually to be seen by everybody. The last question from Honorable Senator Newton was again, why was Ojwang transported all the way from Homa Bay to Nairobi?
Yeah, you've already responded to
I have already responded to
This
that
is the 10th time. Just pick a new one and you conclude IG so that we hear IPO.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I'm already through with the questions. Thank you.
Just hold on IG. I think that few questions that you may have not noted down. Just remind the IG of your question.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, you ask, and if you ask and you're not answered, so it's fair that we remind the IG the questions that have not been answered. When IG, I asked a very specific question on the events of the 5th of June. That was a very specific question, and I don't want to repeat the question. I'm sure it has rung back in your mind that I said that on the 5th of June, so much happened, and the officers were in Kisii by 12:55. That question I had asked and you have not answered. And finally, why you chose Bagadia and not Kenyatta National Hospital? That was, yeah.
Honorable Methu, the IG responded to that question. You know,
now,
I think what you need is the second limb of Senator Methu's question, is that the time computation does not add up. What do you say to that?
For that one, Honorable Speaker, the DCI have got a unit that deals with serious crimes. And in that unit, although he is going to give details on that one, in that unit, he has those who records the statements, those who are investigating on other bits of, every continuing investigations. So that's the reason why you find that once it has been confirmed, for example, by the CAK, has been confirmed by the EACC, then there is this team that moves immediately and effects, for example, the arrest. So that is basically the reason why you find that it is really not the same team that is seated at the DCI there that is doing all that, but it is one unit. So the information is passed to the other teams that are there.
Honorable Methu, I think he has passed the buck to IPO and DCI. Exactly. So wait until DCI or IPO, then they may be able to take that. So, honorable senators, let us now have IPO take the stand. Senator Haji, you will. We still have all the witnesses around, you will. Exactly. Proceed, Senator Haji.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is an unusual sitting. It is sort of like a special sitting, an extraordinary sitting. The rules are not very clear, Mr. Speaker, and I would really wish that you would make a ruling so that we can proceed with speed and conclude in time. Mr. Speaker, if you allow everybody to ask a supplementary question, we will be here for a very long time. And we are not here, Mr. Speaker, as far as my understanding, to cross-examine the individuals that are here, appearing here today. If we were informed that that is the case, then we would have been here very well prepared to cross-examine every answer that is submitted to this House. So, Mr. Speaker, and also not to forget that this matter has also been referred to the committee. I don't know what you expect the committee to do, what work to do, if we are going to handle everything here today. And we don't have the time. So, Mr. Speaker, I indulge that you make a ruling so that we can move with speed and give opportunities to the senators who have not spoken today to also ask questions to the individuals that are here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, honorable senators, I was very clear on the procedure to adopt going forward. And I said we're going to hear all the witnesses. Thereafter, I was going to allow senators to ask for clarifications or ask questions. We did the first round before we adjourned for lunch. When I came back, the way forward I had communicated was, before we take the second round of senators, we allowed the witnesses to respond to the questions or clarification sought that were directed to them. Once we are done with that, we will take the second round of senators. Now, the problem is there are some questions that honorable senators have posed that have not found satisfactory answers. That those questions that honorable senators have posed, whom the IG has referred to IPO. We are not here to cross-examine anybody. We are simply asking questions and clarifications from the witnesses that are here. So, honorable senators, I would urge us to do this. We step down the IG. A lot of his responses were actually shoved towards either IPOA or DCI. Allow the DCI. Allow the DCI because the IPOA will combine DCI and IG. So let us allow DCI to take the stand. Now, honorable senators, for us to make progress, let us minimize the interventions. Yeah, okay? Honorable senators, let us allow DCI to proceed to respond to the questions sought. And as the DCI does that, please let us not have any interventions so that we make progress. Proceed, DCI.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Senator and Honorable Speaker. And I would like also to appreciate Honorable Speaker and the members for giving me this opportunity to respond to some of the issues raised on the floor, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, an Honorable Senator has actually appealed to my religious faith. And I would like to categorically confirm that I fully understand the religious implications of swearing by the Holy Quran. I cannot please a human being so as to displease my Creator. So mine is to reaffirm that whatever I have said before the Senate and whatever I'm going to say shall be the truth and the whole truth, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, some of the issues that I'll be addressing to have been raised. It is cross-cutting. So I may not be able to attribute the questions to a particular senator. I wish to confirm that it is true that just like any other citizen, the DIG KPS, Mr. Lagat, filed his complaint with the DCI in view of the very, very serious allegations touching on the integrity both on the office and on the person of the DIG KPS. And with those very, very serious allegations, his only recourse, Honorable Speaker, was to report the matter to the DCI, which is the investigative agency of the National Police Service, so as to investigate those allegations to its logical conclusion. There was nothing extraordinary with that report. Honorable Speaker, we have in the past received and investigated similar complaints from senior government officials, senators, members of parliament, and the investigative process has always remained the same. We receive the report, we investigate with a view to identify the culprits, and we take appropriate action. So the complaint by the DIG KPS, Mr. Lagat, was subjected to the same due process, Honorable Speaker, and there wasn't any preferential treatment as such. So I wish to confirm to this august House that throughout the subsistence of our investigations, the DIG KPS never interfered with the investigations whatsoever. Relating to the complaint letter and the statement, just like the IG has said, we are ready and willing to avail the same before this august House. The question on why the deceased, may his soul rest in peace, was transferred from Homa Bay to Nairobi. Honorable Speaker, the CPC Section 71, Cap 75, is very, very clear on the places of trial and jurisdictions. Ordinary places of trial for an offense is determined where the crime was committed. Our courts also do have jurisdictions, save for those courts that do have or enjoy inherent jurisdictions. For this particular matter, Your Honorable Speaker, the offense we believe was committed in Nairobi, but the arrest was done in Homa Bay County, and that's why the deceased had to be driven all the way from Homa Bay to Nairobi.
You may also wish to note that offenses of cybercrime, Honorable Speaker, have a national jurisdiction, as there's no way of justifying the place it has been perpetrated. It is an offense that can be committed even when somebody is on a journey. So it has a national jurisdiction. Senator Kalwale alluded to the fact that we did not have a court order. And I would like to state very clearly, Honorable Speaker, that we do not require a court order to move a suspect from one police jurisdiction to another police jurisdiction. We don't require a court order. For this, for the deceased, he was booked at Mawega Police Station, that is Homa Bay, and booked out at 16:00 hours. And he was booked at Central Police Station 21:32 hours. There was an allegation that why we could not provide the CCTVs at the DCI offices in Mawega. I wish to confirm that we don't have a DCI offices in Mawega. It is a recently elevated police station from a police post, and we don't have the presence of a CCTV there. I further wish to confirm, Honorable Speaker, that the deceased was treated with utmost humility throughout the journey, all the way from Homa Bay to Nairobi by the arresting officers. Indeed, while at Narok, he asked for refreshments, and he was given some refreshments by the arresting officers. Like I said, Honorable Speaker, he was booked at Central Police Station at 21:32. At 21:24, the deceased was given an opportunity while at Central Police Station to talk to his wife. One Nefnin Apondi, on cell phone number 075808161, registered under one George Onyango, who apparently was the father. The vehicle that was used to ferry the deceased from Homa Bay County to Nairobi was a DCI vehicle, GKC 519B Subaru Forester. And I can confirm, Honorable Speaker, without any fear of contradiction, that from Homa Bay, the suspect was driven straight to Central Police Station and nowhere else. And for this, we can technically confirm even the movement of the Subaru vehicle by using the GPS system. Some members were alluding to the fact that maybe the suspect was taken to DCI headquarters, and nothing can be far from the truth. From Homa Bay, he was taken straight to Central Police Station, where he was booked in the cells. And the actual booking, the digital booking, was done by the report office personnel that via OB 136 7/6/2025 at 21:32, and it says that the suspect was placed in cells while appearing normal. And that was captured digitally. So there's no room for human manipulation. It has further been confirmed that before the booking, the report office personnel called the OCS. And it's unfortunate it is being said that Talam, Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker, is the OCS and not the OSPD. That he declined to book the suspect. Talam is the officer commanding Central Police Station. And from the totality of things, he should be treated as a prime suspect in the matter. So, a question was raised about the whereabouts of the DCI arresting officers. Honorable Chair, I would like to first state that the fact in issue here is what caused and who caused the death of the late Albert Ojwang. We are not talking about the circumstances that led to his arrest from Bungoma, from Homa Bay, Honorable Chair. The arrest was legitimate and it was lawful. And he was arrested for legitimate reasons in view of the complaint and the subsequent revelations by our investigations. So, we know where the DCI officers are. They are actively on duty, Honorable Speaker. And they are available, if required, by IPOA for interrogation, for interview. And Honorable Speaker, if the investigation establishes that they participated in the killing of the deceased, then the law should take its course and suitable action be taken against them. In regard to one Kevin Moinde who was arrested and detained at Kamukunji Police Station, the Inspector General has very, very well elucidated that it is true he was arrested, and we forwarded the file to the DPP, who said that we did not cover certain points. And on the basis of that, he was released unconditionally until such a time when we cover some of the points raised by the ODPP. In regard to the other two, we did not arrest them. We don't know where they are, and we cannot confirm whether they are dead or alive, because these are characters we have never interacted with them at all. Honorable Speaker, it is true that the ECC confirmed the same day that our officers were in Homa Bay. When we are conducting investigations, Honorable Speaker, we task this division of labor. We give the teams specific tasks. We have the action teams. We have the teams that do the interviews, the interrogations, the writing of the correspondences, the compilation of the file. So it is not the same team that collected the correspondence from EACC, the same team that arrested the suspect from Homa Bay. And then finally, there was the aspect of who deleted the social media account. Honorable Speaker, this issue came after the fact of the murder. And we got this in the social media. And I believe in their investigations, because we are not the ones having the conduct of the investigations. This should be an area that should interest the EPOA team to find out, besides other issues, who actually deleted the social media account and why and when. I think those are issues that can be sufficiently addressed by the EPOA investigations. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, I want to rest my submission there unless there's any other question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, IG. Just before you take your seat, the question as to why the young man was arrested in Homa Bay, not charged in Homa Bay, but transferred all the way to Nairobi, was asked to the IG. His response was that the crime was committed in Nairobi. That was the response of the IG. The same questions was directed to you, DCI, and this was your response, that the crime under the Cyber Crime Act is a crime of a national jurisdiction, meaning it can be tried anywhere. If indeed that is the case, having arrested this young man in Homa Bay with a crime of national jurisdiction, why was he brought to Nairobi?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. When we are making the decision to determine where to take a suspect, there are several variables that we consider. One is the logistics and the investigation convenience. If we say that we take him to a court in Homa Bay, and majority of the witnesses are in Nairobi, the forensic lab evidence is in Nairobi, the complainant is in Nairobi. So because of that, and because of the logistic reasons, that's why sometimes we find it more convenient to have the suspect charged here in Nairobi instead of wasting a lot of resources going to Homa Bay. And that is provided for in our service standing orders, Honorable Speaker.
Let's hear IPOA. You may take your seat, DCI.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I was asked 4 questions, and the first one was from the Leader of Majority on the status of the young man as he left Homa Bay to Nairobi. And Honorable Speaker, the documents that we have obtained from Central Police Station, which include the OB, indicate that he was booked in as of good health. We also have the statements from the 5 arresting officers, the DCI officers, who alleged that he spoke to the wife before he was booked in. And in regard to that, we have written to Safaricom to be able to obtain the call log to verify whether it's true he spoke to the wife at the same time. And also, once we have the family statements, which are meant to be taken tomorrow, the same indication will come out clearly. The other thing that would have shown his condition clearly, Chair, is the CCTV, which in our report we have indicated was tampered with. And from the forensic report, the forensic experts that we have at the authority, it's very clear that the CCTV was working, because the first thing the forensic expert and the investigating officer noted when they got into Central Police was that the power was not connected to the power cable of the CCTV was not connected to the socket. But on connecting it, the CCTV came back. But on trying to review the previous day's events, there was nothing. So it is very clear that the CCTV was tampered with, and we have referred the same to an expert to be able to retrieve the data. And on whether the retrieval will be successful will depend on if it was the hard disk that was removed or was just it was just erased. So we are waiting for that, Honorable Speaker. There was also a question on the police stations which have CCTV. On the judgment of one Judge Ogola, he gave recommendations to us and also to the IG on the importance of having CCTVs at the cells, and we are pursuing that. And there was also a recommendation from, I think, LSK on the same. So we are pursuing that, and we have also done inspections and written recommendations to the IG on that. And I want to commend the IG because during his interrogation for the job, he spoke of the importance of having officers having body cams as they do their work. This would also be an avenue where we would have seen what really transpired. So I believe these are some of the reviews and some of the reforms that we would want to see NPS taking up. The other question was on the officers who are interdicted, what we are doing about them as an authority. And I had indicated in my report that the 6 officers were to report today for statement writing at the authority headquarters. And during lunchtime, I've confirmed they have reported and their statements were being taken. 8 of them, including the OCS, had already taken the statements. So of the 6, the authority saw 9 more, 11 more being persons of interest, who are officers who are also around in the Central Police Station, and they'll also be taken in for statement writing. There was also a question on how long we think as an authority we can give the same case to ODPP for prosecution. Honorable Speaker, with deliberation with my team, our legal team and our investigators, if you're given less than 10 days, we will be able to have all the reports ready, given that we have around 4 or 5 things that we need to conclude. And Honorable Chair, we had given, we had a bill in front of this House through JILAC, that is Honorable Sigei's committee, on powers to arrest and prosecute. There was a question on why the officers have not been arrested. So these are still powers that we are seeking as an authority, because if given these powers, we'll be able to arrest and also prosecute. Immediately we are done with our investigation. And Honorable Speaker, we are committed, as the CS said, nobody is above the law. Our act as IPOA gives us mandate and powers to summon anyone, including the IG, for statement taking. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Let us hear from the National Police Service Commission. Let him say for the record.
Thank you, Speaker. I don't think there was a question directed to the National Police Service Commission, but I just want to say two things. On the issue that has been alluded by the CS Interior and even the IG himself, we have had situations where the IG wants to do promotions, but officers have not undertaken the requisite career progression courses. And when the CS says there is more need to try and pool resources so that these trainings can be facilitated. And finally, that we are in discussions It's the National Police Service Commissions which approves the curriculum, and therefore with all the other stakeholders, once it is developed, then it is the mandate of the Commission to approve that curriculum if there are new changes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Now, once Senator Sige, you have the floor, you will seek that and ask your question, because you are doing the second round of questions. Now, honorable senators, if you can be direct to the questions, we'll save a lot of time. I am persuaded to put a time within which to ask your question. So within a maximum of 3 minutes. A maximum of 3 minutes. If you want to make a speech, you'll need 5. But if you need to ask clarification, 3 should be enough. Senator Ali Roba. Senator Ali Roba.
Thank you very much.
Senator Ali Roba, just take your seat. I remember that Senator Nyutu had not concluded when we adjourned. So conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll take under 1 minute. I was stood down by the point of order by Majority Leader. And my last question actually was to IPOA. And I wanted to ask them how safe they are investigating people who have power to arrest and carry firearms. And Mr. Speaker, because I say this because Lawyer Willie Kimani was doing exactly what IPOA does, and he lost his life. So what is the security guarantee for IPOA? And DIG did not get my question, Mr. Speaker. He's saying that I claimed that investigation about this death has been speedy. I was talking about investigation about the claim made by DIG Lagat. It was speeded up. That is what I meant. And finally, to CS Murkomen, he said, he quoted to 245. Why we are demanding that DIG Lagat steps aside, it is because he is a police officer, and this matter revolves around him. So you cannot liken this to a complaint that is made by a senator or somebody else. This is a police officer who can interfere and who can command even people, the officers that are investigating. So it needs to be made clear. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Crystal Asige.
That's very brilliant.
Thank you, Speaker. The clarification that I sought, which is not part of my 3 minutes, I hope, Speaker, was that the question was asked of whether Albert Ojwang was alone or with others in the cell. And the IG said that that would be answered by the DCI and or IPOA, and neither of them answered that question. So that was the clarification that I was seeking. And it was further highlighted by Senator Mandago, who said that there is a detainee witness statement that IPOA took that would probably shed light on whether he was alone or with others. That is the clarification. My first question, Speaker. Who issued, this is to DCI, who issued the orders for Albert to be driven from Homa Bay all the way to Nairobi? I would like to know who issued the particular instruction for that to happen and not to process him in Homa Bay. Next, the DIG personally, we have been informed, recorded a complaint. And who took down that complaint? I would like to know from the DCI as well. And who else recorded a statement in support of the allegations made by the DIG? That is also to DCI. Next is to the IG. I know that the IG Speaker already has said that many of the questions will be answered or will be revealed once investigations are complete, but this one perhaps he can answer directly. This is to the IG. You said in your first media brief that the cause of death was that he hit his head on the wall, Albert. And you've just clarified that that was wrong information given to you by the primary report by an officer. Who was this officer who gave you this false information that you then issued in your first media briefing that, that misled the country as of the cause of death. That is what I want to know. And the reason I ask this is because if someone saw and alleged that he had repeatedly hit his head on the walls.
Senator Tobiko. Okay, Senator Asige, don't worry, I'll take care of that. Just have your seat. Senator Tobiko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll be very brief because a number of questions that I had have already been answered in the process. Mr. Speaker, because the DCI said the crime was perpetrated in Nairobi, that's why the suspect was brought to Nairobi. Yet cybercrime, social media, including X-Space, is not necessarily domiciled in Nairobi. It is still baffles, Mr. Speaker, why the suspect was brought to Nairobi. But now that that happened, and he seems to have paid for his crime through his life. What then, Mr. Speaker, will be the recourse for a murder of this young man who has been murdered by the police? What will then be, the recourse for the family and for Kenyans in general, Mr. Speaker? Because there seems to be a crime on top of another crime, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I had also wanted, but the lady from IPO has responded, I had wanted to know whether the interdicted officers have recorded their statements and what is the account of the account of the deceased since he was brought to the station. What was his situation when he was brought to the station? But she said those statements were being taken today in the afternoon. So maybe that we will get to know later on. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to know whether the officers at the station, that is the report office, the cell sentry, record at the OB, if they clearly stated the status or the health situation of the deceased before he was booked in. Mr. Speaker, it is also of interest to this House to know how many hours it took to pick Mr. Ojwang from his home to, what was the name of that police station? The first police station? Mawega. And then from Mawega to Nairobi. How many hours? Because that seems to have had so many hours in between, so that we know whether that is normal or whether there was a detour to some other place before he was finally booked into Nairobi. And then, Mr. Speaker, I also wanted to know the normal situation. Do police arrest to investigate, or they investigate, forward the case to ODPP, then the DPP recommends the arrests? What is the normal situation, Mr. Speaker?
Senator Muma. Senator Muma.
Thank you, Speaker. I'll be very quick. First, policy questions to the CS. CS, whatever you might call law or policy in Kenya, it would seem it doesn't work for police excesses. But in your speech, you seem to suggest that currently we are out of the woods on matters police excesses. I would want to ask, do you have any policy review proposals around issues of abductions and extrajudicial killings? Secondly, What is your view about commissions of inquiry and inquests as tools that would be used to investigate police excesses? Finally, for you, does the police have any curriculum on human rights approaches to service delivery? CS, that is different from human rights. Human rights approaches is about how you apply human rights in service delivery. For the IG, DCI, IPOA, severally and together, first, the offense of publication. Why did you not, or why do you not consider inviting the person you think has offended to come to the police station for you to ask them questions? Why do you need to deploy a whole vehicle, and you're complaining about resources, all the way to arrest one person? Secondly, IG, it will be good for you to confirm that what your communication director issued, I don't think it's reached even 2 minutes, please. What your communication director issued is actually, I want you to confirm again that it was a false statement that he issued. Thirdly, does IPOA have an independent forensic lab where you're going to carry your...
Senator Kinyua.
Asanti, Bwana Speaker. Swali langu ni kwa DIG Kanja. Ninauliza ya kwamba kwa sababu walipomfikisha Albert Ojwang, walipomfikisha pale Central Police Station, tayari yule ambaye ni afisa mkuu wa pale katika ile police station ambaye anaitwa Talam hakuwako. Inasemekana alipigiwa simu kuulizwa kama atakubali yule Albert Ojwang aweze kuwekwa katika ile seli. Ni utaratibu wa katika polisi zetu, yeye afisa ambaye anasimamia station awe akiulizwa kama mtu yoyote ambaye analetwa katika police station awekwe ndani au la. Hilo ndi swali langu la kwanza. Swali la pili, ya kwamba hawa maafisa ambao walikuwa pale ikiwemo Talam tayari wamesimamishwa kazi. Na Talam hakuwa katika, yeye makosa yake ni kuwa yeye ndiye afisa mkuu katika ile police station ya Central. Tutafika mwisho wapi kuwasimamisha watu kazi, kwa sababu kulingana na mwendo huo afisa mkuu wa polisi wa Nairobi, kwa sababu ako na mamlaka, anapaswa kusimamishwa kazi. Siye huyo peke yake, afisa mkuu wa polisi katika Jamhuri ya Kenya anapaswa kusimamishwa kazi. Kabla tufike hapo,
It's difficult to establish a treasury single account to consolidate idle government cash balances and improve liquidity management and lower the government's borrowing costs. Honorable Speaker, why is it difficult? Why? And we know actually that is one of the panacea that we can use to consolidate funds and stop this problem of cash flows that we have, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, another very important thing that I would like to speak about, Honorable Speaker, apart from the single treasury account, is we have an opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to redeem this country. Our multilateral lenders, we have seen, Honorable Speaker, us passing laws. I remember the interest bill. What was the name of that interest bill, Honorable Speaker? The one that we passed recently here. You know, that bill, yes, conflict of interest bill that we are passing here. Most probably some multilateral or bilateral lenders were pushing this bill in our throat because of funding. Because of funding, Honorable Speaker. Because we want to look for money. And therefore we are told, these unpalatable things you must pass, you must do this and this and this, because we must rely on some multilateral lending and loans and all that. And therefore, as a country, we have to be pushed through a path that we do not like. But I want to say in this August House, Honorable Speaker, if we consolidate all our funds, if we have one single treasury account, if we are careful about the loans that we are borrowing, we may not have to go to multilateral lenders, Honorable Speaker. Mwai Kibaki did it. The Honorable Mwai Kibaki did it. And I think it can still be done. I think we can still run this economy, the 6th largest in Africa, on funds that are available and not even raise single tax with, you know, if we do all these things, Honorable Speaker, we can bring down the tax, we can bring down VAT, we can bring down payslip taxes and all those kind of things and still manage this economy. I believe, Honorable Speaker, it is very possible. The only problem is we are careless in our borrowing. And when we get the money, we are not even ready to implement those projects. That money lies in our accounts, and then we go back. We borrow money that has been loaned to us. So you actually pay double loan, interest and commitment fees, and then you also go back to the same bank again and borrow to pay salaries, Honorable Speaker. We need to find a way. Honorable Speaker, what is wrong with even having one county government account? One single county government. So that because one county government has money, a lot of it they're not using. Another county government, Honorable Speaker, does not have money. They go to a bank and borrow money that is there from another county, which is still government money. Honorable Speaker, we need to have a fiscal consolidation at another level to save us from always paying a lot of money and continue to borrow. The circle of borrowing, Honorable Speaker, unless we are careful, we shall continue that way and we will not move this country forward. I want to thank the committee for a job well done. Honorable Shuri, you are doing a very, very good job. If I was the boss, I would have given you something. But I think I will do that next time. But thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and this country must move forward without debt. I thank you.
Honorable Makale Mulu, member for Kitui Central.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me take this opportunity to thank my chairman. I think I'm 2 months old out of that committee, and I must appreciate the good work they have done. And I also want to thank the Deputy Majority Leader for being candid. That's what Kenyans expect from all of us as members of Parliament, telling the country the truth. Honorable Speaker, the debt is at March 2025 is 11.6 trillion. Out of that, you find over the years, we have been having more external debt than domestic debt. But now the ratios seem to have changed, Honorable Speaker. We are doing now 46% external, 54% domestic, which means we are borrowing more domestically. If you look at the report currently, it is proposing, the proposed debt ratios, the mix, what we call debt mix, is that 2% external, 68% domestic, which means now we rely more on domestic debt as opposed to external debt. The disadvantage with that is that the domestic debt is always more expensive. To make things worse, it has a shorter repayment period. So what will happen to our interest? Interest will keep on increasing, and you realize that even the mix in terms of the share of, in terms of total interest, the share of domestic interest payment will be higher. And I think if we want to manage our debt properly, Honorable Speaker, these are some of the things we must get them right. Honorable Speaker, what has been written in this report, I think it's almost everything is like we've said it before. The issue of commitment fee. Imagine, Honorable Speaker, up to now, this financial year which we are implementing, we have paid commitment fee amounting to about 770 million from July 1st to date. 770 million. Kenyans, I think we really need to do something. And that's why I agree with you, David Majority Leader. You know, Honorable Mbanda has been one of us many, many years. And we have been on these benches together saying these things. Now he's the man holding the steering wheel, but things are not changing. I really want to urge him that things can change, because if they don't change, Honorable Speaker, we have a problem. Issues of counterpart funding, Honorable Speaker. Why do you get a loan and you don't have your local share of the loan so that you continue paying commitment fee? Just poor financial management. Now, the elephant in the room. This animal called securitization, Honorable Speaker. And I really want to thank Chairman for having picked this. What has happened, Kenyans, is that now the government is able to get some money in advance. And the security is the money we expect to collect. For example, we are collecting fuel levy, 70 shillings per litre, and on the base side, because that money will be flowing always, that money now the government can take some money in advance, lump sum, and then the payment will be coming from that levy on a monthly basis. We have already taken that money, and that's the money we have used to pay about 40% to all the contractors for them to move back to continue the works. It sounds excellent, but I can tell you, as somebody who appreciates these financial issues, that the challenge you have with that, and I can see my time is, the challenge we have with that, honorable members, the challenge we have with that, what happens is you are tying your
extra 3 minutes.
You are tying your cash flows in advance for repayments. So what happens if by bad luck this house decides to say we are removing the 7 shillings fuel levy next budget? What happens to the repayments? They will be stuck. You will not be able to move. And that's why we are saying this as an area we need to move very cautiously. We need to be very cautious and move to this direction. The other effect is, which is critical, is in 2 years we'll be having elections. And elections are elections. They can go either way. Assuming we get another government which says we are not going to charge any fuel levy of 7 shillings, or we are not going to continue the sports fund, because that's the other area we want to go to. What it means basically then, the other government coming will have a challenge paying this money. And I think we really need to get worried, because it means we've already tied our hands in terms of cash flow. And what will happen is the so-called fiscal consolidation is moved to the future, will just become a story. It will never be a reality. And I think really, honorable members, if we want to help this country, time has come when we must all come together and help Treasury get out some of these things. Deputy Majority Leader, you have talked about the single account, single Treasury account. That's the most important account we need in this country. Why can't we tell the Waziri Bandi that unless you have it operational by 1st July, we are not going to discuss anything coming from you? Because it will help this country. As you said, Deputy Majority Leader, we have money lying all over the accounts, government money. And that's the money we are borrowing through buying treasury bills, treasury bonds. So the government is using the money to buy their own money, and at the end of the day, you are paying interest. So it makes all of us look very bad. So to me, I think we need to help Treasury so that we get some of these things right for the sake of our country. Honorable members, I want to share with you some experience. About 2 weeks ago, we had a serious conference on debt transparency, aligning legal frameworks to good practice. And in that meeting, we had the former finance minister from Ghana. You are all aware Ghana has restructured their public debt. What they told us, in very clear terms, Kenyans pray God that you'll never go through a debt restructure.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a
we have around things that continue to happen, and we'll continue with that conversation this hour. But before we do, Father's Day is coming up, and Willie's doing something, isn't it? Yes. Tell us about that, Dennis.
We all know that Father's Day is a journey of strength, wisdom, and quiet sacrifice. And here on the Situation Room, we often talk about making meaningful decisions. So this Father's Day, Dennis Okari, Mashmiwa, you know, Father's Day is around the corner. Well, what's here's one. It's giving a dad a reason to smile, relax, and maybe even show off just a little bit. You know, fathers don't get show